So Cade 6 is dead. Taken out from a lethal shot from the Ace of Spades, delivered at the hands of Aldrin. Shown to us at the E3 Destiny 2 Forsaken trailer, but a few days ago. Now, I know there is a great many of players out there who are taken aback by this, hurt, shocked, infuriated, and understandably so. However, I have to admit, this was a brilliant move on behalf of Bungie to allegedly kill off a player, a character that many players enjoyed, frankly.
Get your rock off my map.
I was not a part of that bunch. To be honest, I thought Cade was cheesy. I thought he was a bit arrogant.
See about a
And
ship.
it kind of reminded me, and I'm sure you reminded some of you of some people you go to school with, whether it be high school or college, and those people that sit in class and they kind of think they're the know-it-alls, and you know, they kind of make light of everything. And I get it. That was kind of Cade's role, to make light of situations, to bring the comedic relief. And if you found him funny, great. If you didn't, I think you and I are part of the same camp. Now, we've got a job to do, and that's to remember why Bungie has done what in fact they've done in killing off a somewhat beloved character in the game. The tone of Destiny 2 for many people has been one of disappointment. It has been one of regret. And after 2 failed DLCs, a lot of people were getting ready to give up on the game. Killing off a character that a lot of people felt connected to was the perfect incentive to get players back into the game, to seek out vengeance against Aldrin. If I was a writer at Bungie, I probably would have wrote it the exact same way. But the thing you have to remember is, when we look at that trailer, we don't really see Cade get shot. And I think if you understand what it is that you're seeing in that moment, you understand that while Bungie created a game in Destiny that was maybe at first in Destiny 1 very tailored towards, you know, a mature audience, somewhere along the line, along the way, they kind of scaled it back and said, we want this to be a game everyone can enjoy, so older players as well as younger players alike. Unfortunately, in today's game, you can't really please both crowds. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Whenever you show a trailer and you don't exactly show a coup de grace being delivered, that goes to say that you don't necessarily want to show things to be too graphic. And I understand if you've got a lot of children that play this game, you may not want to show Cade getting shot in the face. But if you look at what that and the way that they shot it, just that cinematography says about the way this DLC is going to be presented, you can't surely imagine that you're going to have the vindication that you're looking for to actually kill Aldrin. Bungie's not going to give you the option to, you know, hit square to kill him off, or R1, you know, as another option. If you ask me, the way this plays out, as you hunt the Barons, your last mission will be to have a standoff or to hunt down or to track down Aldrin. And as you may want to kill him off, I think the Queen comes back and we turn him over to the Queen. Keep in mind, Bungie's greatest product has never really been the game. it's always usually been the marketing, the promotion, or the hype videos that come out before the DLCs are released that get the players excited to want to play the game again, only to be let down by the actual gameplay once they get their hands on it. After all, where Destiny 2 is headed in the Forsaken is exactly where Destiny 1 left off, with the random rolls, with the reclassifications of the supers, and so many other variables. Now, in the last video, we talked about, some of the new, and I'm doing air quotes here, new enemies that aren't really new. And we talked about the goodwill that Bungie needs to be trying to reestablish with players, all of which I still stand by, but I don't want to beat on that dead horse. If you missed that video, you can go back. This is Destiny 2 Forsaken Unpopular Opinion Part 2. The video I'm referring to is Part 1 of this series. And other questions that I have is, that I raised in the other video, is to say, well, why after everything, after all the directions we could take this game, why are we going back to the Reef? At first it seemed a bit random, but after the release of this trailer, and this is why I wanted, because I knew E3 was coming out, so I wanted to wait to do a part 2 to this video, because I felt Bungie would kind of tip their hand, and they actually have. If you remember, before we got Destiny 1, the Vidoc that came out months before the game actually came out, there was a scene in there where you and Aldrin were having a little bit of a face-off, and he was on Earth holding you hostage at gunpoint. And he wanted to know why this city was breathing down his back.
Why is the city breathing down my neck?
Why don't you put that down so we can talk?
Out here in the wild, this is how we talk.
Well, now we know the answer to that question. If you kill off a beloved character, that word's going to travel fast. It's going to make its way back to the city. And this is why members of the city were breathing down your back. So I want to see if I can find it, because I honestly want to put it in this video. But to me, it feels like this is probably more cut content cut out of Destiny 1, and now it's being resold to us in Destiny 2. Which again is a huge red flag for me in the way that this whole entire game has been rolled out. The other thing that doesn't really sit well with me is when you look at, from here on out, where Bungie is headed in the direction when it comes to Destiny, them offering a new annual pass outside of the Forsaken, but the new annual pass that's going to give players a lot less in terms of their DLC than we've gotten years past, because there's not going to be any more cutscenes and cinematics, any more unique storytelling. I think the way that Deej said it on the reveal was, we're going to tell a story but through gameplay. So my question to the player is, if this averages to be about $10 or so and the normal DLC is about $20, what kind of DLC do you think you're going to get for less money? In addition to that, the fact that they want to make you have the 2 DLCs prior to even being able to own Forsaken feels like a bit of a punishment. Because if you were unhappy where Destiny 2 was headed on its rollout, and you didn't buy the Season Pass, and you didn't buy Curse of Osiris, and if you didn't buy Warmind, once those reviews came out, you were sitting in a pretty good position. You got to save a little bit of money. You were happy that you didn't buy it, because those reviews said that the DLC was lackluster. It didn't really inspire a strong buy feeling for a lot of players who didn't have the Season Pass. And now, in order to play Forsaken, they want you to be in possession of the 2 prior DLCs. I feel like it's a kick in the face to a lot of players who elected not to buy the 2 subpar games or the 2 subpar DLCs. Again, I don't want to really beat on a dead horse here, so that's why I'm not rehashing a lot of points that I made in part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, watch it. The other thing is, I kind of feel that Destiny is somewhat catering towards the younger crowds. So I'm not 100% convinced that Cade is dead. And I just don't want to be taken advantage of by the DLC, play it, and get more lackluster storytelling. So if you've been on the fence about this and you've watched the DLC, I strongly suggest waiting until the DLC comes out, and don't get the review of the DLC from people that you've watched before, people that have been basically bought and sold, and they sold you as their audience to Bungie to hype up future DLC so that you buy it. Take a look at that DLC from a new reviewer and see what they're saying about it. Because if we know anything from the history of doing business with Bungie, we're promised one thing often and given a complete different thing when it's time to deliver. I believe that's all I really have for you guys right now. The other thing I'm going to put in this video is every time a new DLC comes out, Bungie says we've got a really unique opportunity, and I was supposed to put that in part 1, but part 1 was long enough. I'm going to put that compilation video in this video so you guys can see just how in fact Bungie often lies to the players and how much they often inflate what it is that in fact that they're actually listening to, and you guys can be the deciding judge for it. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you haven't already subscribe to the channel. We've got premium content coming out for you guys here in the future. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has in fact subscribed to the channel since we started doing these videos. I appreciate it. The growth of the channel would not be where it is without you. So again, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Creating an experience is that someone else is going to enjoy it. One reason that the game is so intriguing is that it's reaching players in ways that we haven't before. We're really going to make a conscious effort to build an experience which is going to be meaningful for people. Like, how do you keep a player going for 50 or 100 hours over some number of months? And to not just want to play the game, but to want to play it with their friends.
We're creating something completely new, and it's a scary place, but if it's not scary, then it's not going to be good.
We're working on armor perks, random rolls, new mod system, new subclass paths.
We're making Forsaken for people who love Destiny.
Making a game that we can all love. That is the goal. That's what we're going to constantly be pushing towards, always.
Everything we're building is through that lens.
We have this opportunity that we wouldn't have had years ago to ship a game and then really collaborate with people outside the studio to figure out, like, what is the best version of that?
Honestly, yeah, like, we're building something the community has been asking for, and it's accumulation of everything that we believe the game needs to be.
The upside to that is we're not holding anything back. All the feedback we've heard for the last year is, this is it, it's in Forsaken.
We have this really amazing opportunity to build a world that people want to stay in for a really long time and have that conversation with them. It's really exciting that this time it's a two-way street. It's not the one-way street it was ever before.
Loud and clear what players wanted. They wanted more. That's what we've tried to do in The Dark Below, is bring people more.
Certainly we're going to explore some stuff that we think is really cool, but we're also going to listen to the community and build some things that they think is pretty cool. Just like
we're doing amazing stuff with weapons that we're not even ready to talk about yet.
We're on the forums, we're reading Reddit, we're reading NeoGAF, we're seeing what people like, what they don't like.
Facing something you haven't seen before. And if you like that, let us know, and for sure, you will see more coming.
We hear the community's call for new content, and with the April update, the live team is excited to be able to bring new ways to play and experience Destiny.
And in that other room that you're going to go to when we're done here this morning, it's over there to play. It's got all kinds of cool stuff in it. We think it's pretty amazing. I'm sure you're going to tell us what you think about it too. I know. Read about it on Reddit.
We really try hard to make sure from the ground up we're building this to be an experience that you want to share with your friends. And not only your friends, but the potential friends that you could have.
Was that awesome or what? Am I right? Am I right or am I right? And no one doesn't like Nathan Fillion, don't bother. As awesome as that trailer was, I can tell you, because I've been playing the game a ton, it is even better than it looks. I could not be prouder or more thankful to our partners at Bungie. They had a big vision for this game to make Destiny 2 a sequel-worthy successor to what they started with Destiny. And they've also really listened to all of you, to our community. And I think they've made all the right moves to make Destiny 2 just awesome. So let's hear it for Luke and Steve and Emmy and Mark.